Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 6 here, the final week for DMV Rivals Winter 2026, at least for the Swiss stage. My name is Shiv, joined by Prone for this match between the Big Back Chuds and the Soy Kiddo Slayers as we are right into draft.
Thing moving just like with the new patch, we still got the Yunara and Core. No surprises, 80s trade pretty evenly, so we'll see where it goes from there. Notably, the bans. Paying a lot of respect to Zero Domain and top 2 picks of the bar in that Victor and Yon and Rex's with the Draven. Ooh.
Yeah,
Soy Kiddo choosing to go picking down Bush's jungle early. They were hovering that Ahri for a while. But Kha'Zix has been strong for a while. And play Assassins is hide on Bush's bread and butter, so no surprise there.
Yeah, definitely a pick that he has favored a lot. At least later in series. Usually he's still a bit more traditional in game number 1, but this time decides to throw it out early. The response from the Chuds is going to be that Wukong, Big Back Chuds have subbed in Kwasi as the sub, and they have played a good bit of Wukong throughout this split. There's also the support sub of Genesis on the side of the Chuds, and he's going to be likely the one piloting that Nico.
In this game, T Cyrac holding up the mid for Soy Kiddo Slayers. They will choose to hold off on the mid, getting locked in, and being subbed in for support. Soy Kiddo Predators will be running the Karma.
Yeah, so Karma Corki going to be a nice solid 2v2. I'm surprised they did not opt for Corki Nami, as that's been a very powerful lane duo thus far. But now on to phase 2 of bans. Kassadin taken off the board. That has been a pick that Zero Domain has brought out from time to time. Has the game on it so far this split. And then the Chuds instead going to focus on the top lane, taking some things away from Bowmeister, as the Slayers need to figure out what they want here on their 4th pick.
Yeah, Black Chuds disrespecting Sarak a little bit, leaving Echo open. But Sarak, I think he knows better with the Ori and Kassadin bans. He's probably looking for that Ahri still. Very solid champion, works well with any assassin fighter. So the Ornn on 4. So they didn't ban to protect their top laner, just blinded it straight up. So they're really playing hard for this mid counter pick.
Yeah, I mean, A2 YOLO hasn't been too much in the camp of punishing tanks. He's mostly just kind of matched it with Cho'Gath or Aatrox, still traditional picks, not ones that are really going to completely stomp the Ornn and laning phase. We'll see if that maybe changes this time around. Zero Domain hovering the playmaker of the Akali. It's his most played, and he is going to lock it in here. Blind up against Cyrac. And we'll see what they want to play for into the Ornn as well.
Yeah, Cyrac not scared of, or Zero Domain not scared of Cyrac. I'm willing to just call into everything else you play, and just slams it straight down. Also, lethal combination with Nico and the Ambessa on top, so just a full dive comp coming out from Big Back Chuds.
Yeah, that is going to be a lot of dive. We'll see how Cyrac wants to go about this for his pick. I think Twisted Fate is a pick that we see sometimes into the Akali as something that can just reveal her in Shroud. Maybe you play it alongside when you have that carry jungler in the Kha'Zix, but instead it is still a defensive option for Cyrac on the Lissandra.
Yeah, I do like the Lissandra. It does a lot for the side of SPS. Good setup, good CC, good anti-dive. Kind of is just a great champ for Kha'Zix and Corki to play off of. But now a lot of burden of execution, of damage relies on these two AD threats, this Corki, this Kha'Zix. So we'll have to see. They are going to have to work miracles here. It's not going to be easy, even though they have Lissandra, even though they have Ornn. It's not going to be easy to lock down multiple people on the side of Big Bag Chuds. With this Nico, Akali, and Bessa, they'll just be dashing all over the place. So we'll see how they can play it up.
Yeah, they definitely have those tools in the Lissandra and maybe some Karma AoE shield to try to soak up parts of that dive. But if it gets through, if Domain is able to find his target on the Corki, gets very tricky. And then you just have across the board lanes that you feel pretty comfortable in. Lissandra, more of a neutralizing pick, even when she is into a melee champ. And Bessa's going to be able to consistently push in the Ornn. Maybe that limits the capability of Hide on Bush on the Kha'Zix to find people that are isolated and trying to pick them off to build a lead, as we've seen him do plenty of times on this champion. It might be a bit more difficult in this game.
I will say I do like the bot side skirmishing of SPS. Corki, Karma, very, very strong early game. Have to respect it. Kha'Zix has a lot of damage if you can pick someone, can blow up their HP bar if you disrespect it. And Lissandra being able to swoop over walls with that E. They have angles to play bot side, and I feel like they really have to snowball it if they are going to try to play this game out fully. From an even standpoint, I think execution is just much easier. Big back chuds. All they got to do is just press R, jump over the Ornn, hopefully get CC'd by Lissandra, and just keep diving.
Yeah. So some pretty interesting comps to see that they kind of want to play differently in these fights. These are two teams that are sitting towards the top of the standings. They have both locked in playoffs, but there is still seeding to be played for. Either of these teams could finish as high as the 1 seed and as low as the 4th seed, depending on how things play out today and over the weekend. Definitely would like the opportunity to take that number 1 seed, have that better route through the playoff stage for either the Chuds or the Slayers.
Yeah, I'm excited for these seedings play out. Both these teams are very strong, I think, especially having played Big Bag Chuds last week. They're very explosive. I feel like they have a lot of potential to contest the top, especially with Untitled being completely undefeated so far. I feel like these are the two teams that are closest, to knocking them down. That being said, I feel like this game and this series, I would favor Big Back Chuds just because of the sub situation. But we don't talk about that. So I just like this. I like this the comp from Big Back Chuds. It's super explosive. This is something that my team would draft too. It's just very simple. Instead of playing these like high setup, high coordination, revolving team comps, just press R, just pick champs that can go in easily and much easier to execute. Even if it goes south sometimes, simple to get back on your feet and just send it again.
They are absolutely going to be able to come in waves. We're going to take a quick pause before loading up for game number 1. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 1 between the Soy Kettle Players and Big Back Chuds. Both these teams towards the top of the standings, trying to sort out where they're going to fall in the playoff seeding.
Yeah, excited for this one. Should be a banger. Hide on Bush with the classic Ghost on Kha'Zix. Pretty well known for this style. Probably also goes this on Graves. And both junglers pathing bot, so looking like a pretty standard 4v4 bot side game, which kind of favors Soy Kill Predator Slayers in the early game at least.
Yeah, and each team will have that early Raptor ward to know exactly how each jungler is playing out the early game. Yeah, I am curious to see how this bottom lane maybe plays out, given that Genesis and Camper both subbing in on the support side with these range supports that can definitely make the lane volatile, get good aggressive trades, maybe set up for those junglers that are pathing their way down.
Yeah, top lane getting scrappy already kind of favors this Ornn. Bowmeister has Ignite on Ornn top, so I don't know if AT Yellow is respecting it a lot or not.
Yeah, there's the Ignite pop now, but doesn't look like much is going to come of it. Level 2 hit in the bot lane. Genesis going to use the heal to try to retreat back, but level 2 now hit for the side of Soy Blake and Camper, so bit of scrapping, but nothing big, just the Ignite and heals getting lost.
Yeah, Karma is the best counter for Nico in lane. Karma is the best counter for a lot of champs in lane. But the side of Karma losing priority level 1. Yunara is strong, but Corki is strong too, so them losing priority level 1 is pretty surprising to see.
Yeah, the Corkster, definitely no slouch with the Gatling gun. Yunara being able to stack up her passive and go aggressive, giving them some good early starts. But now level 3 means they're going to push forward. Valk in from Soy Blake. Mantra Q hits onto Genesis, but he's going to be fine. Nothing lethal there. Bowmeister to YOLO isolated back on the top side. And the Ignite Ornn is getting some dividends here as he's looking to push that wave in. Wukong knows that he can't really mess with Kha'Zix on that bot crab without support. So he's going to base fire. I was going to say Ruby and a longsword, but 2 longswords instead, and make his way up to the top crab, conceding the bot one to hide on bush. And now Bowmeister flashing in, looks for the combo with the brittle procs at its first blood for combat Ornn. And now Zero Domain may be in a sticky situation, drops his Ignite and Flash to escape in the mid lane.
He's getting scrappy in the solo lanes, Shiv. That's that Ignite Ornn. He didn't have it for that all-in, but he knew he had the damage. And I was doubting the damage on that last auto, but the grasp was just enough for him to take him down under the turret. That's super huge. Ornn is not really favored against Ambessa, so getting a huge bit of relief and buying so much more scaling time for him.
Yeah, more scrapping on bot side as Mantra Q hits. Rex is in trouble. Doesn't have barrier. He has cleanse, and he dies.
Disrespecting the karma. You know, Camper on Duty, I wasn't familiar with your game, bro. I give level 2 prio so you can take 3 on the bouncing wave, and it's just hard winning. I mean, my bad. I didn't see that angle. Super well played from him.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand the utility of the cleanse later on in the game if Lissandra ever dives on you. That's really it. You're not going to cleanse the Ornn knockups. Karma's never going to have a tether on you, so Rex's definitely would have liked to have a barrier in that situation. Instead, he gets popped by the super support sub of Camper on Duty, and Karma will, you know, maybe not their first choice for that kill, but will be able to return to lane with those CDR boots.
Yeah, I'm really liking this start from SPS so far. They're both able to turn their aggression around and pick up a kill. Rex has flash up still, at least, so he can dodge out on the next gank if he needs to. But the Ornn getting a solo kill, Karma being able to punish hard in this winning bot side buys them a lot of time and gets their advantage rolling.
And Bowmeister does have the level 6 AT YOLO now in trouble as the Ignite gets dropped. Call of the Forge God, but is anyone home? Brittle Proc connects, and A2 YOLO is slain for a second time. Now Camper needs to make his way out. Nice jukes on the barbs, as now he's looking to get the tether onto Rex as it connects, but it's Genesis that might be in more trouble. Soyblake trying to push forward. Meanwhile, in mid, there's the lockdown with a Frozen Tomb. There comes Hide on Bush around the bend, and everything's turning up for the Slayers.
This is absolute domination in the early game from every single lane. Hide on Bush has just now gotten involved, but already it's 2 kills in the top lane. And then the second Lissandra hits 6, they get a kill on Zero Domain. They're winning bot side. It's just so much domination already.
Yeah, they see Kwasi back on a ward. Opens up an opportunity for Hide on Bush to just easily secure that first Infernal Drake. So even though the initial phase of the lane didn't go well, it is a solid pickup for the side of SPS to now have that priority and let them take advantages.
Yeah, 2K gold already, 6 minutes in. I did say that they needed this early game advantage to start snowballing this Kha'Zix, this Lissandra, because they won't have the damage if both of those champs, or if the Kha'Zix is not ahead. And Kha'Zix off to a great start. Corki's off to a great start. That's exactly what they're looking for.
Will definitely buy them a good bit of time. We mentioned how the side of the Chuds have all those go buttons to go in, but if they are behind, they're going to get easily popped and CC'd down by this Lissandra. And I mean, the ideal scenario for the side of the Chuds is you've got 2 targets coming in that the Lissandra can't really deal with both with the ultimate, but if no one's able to build that initial lead, if the Ornn is the one swinging around and dealing the damage up in topside, don't have too much to fear for a good bit before A2 YOLO and Zero Domain pick up those items. Oh, we will have Bowmeister finding another angle, has the ultimate, doesn't choose to rip it just yet as he's continuing to build up this lead. Now with the chain vest and the bombies in tow. Ignite is back up. So maybe we see some more action in the Ornn lane of all places as Grubs will spawn on the top side.
Ornn is at a full Sunfire 8 minutes into the game. This guy hurts quite a bit. And he also is quite tanky.
Oh, and Zero Domain picks a bad time to go in. Hide on Bush reads it beautifully. Is right there. They lock down another kill in the mid lane. And now Hide on Bush should be able to move forward for the Grubs. Meanwhile, Genesis with a flash pop blossom onto 2. They're trying to turn it around on Soyblake as Rex is going to be able to dash forward, hits the Arc of Ruin, and now trying to flash on it. Needs another auto, will find it, but he will fall to Camper. So both ADs go down in bot side while the Slayers pick up the Grubs.
Yeah, that's
Kwasi is around, doesn't get the smite on the last grub, but trying to set it up with the Cyclone. Here comes the Mbessa. They've got Bowmeister in the pit, and they should be able to take him down. Nice kill there for the Wukong, but here comes Lissandra. Gets a 2-man slow, but needs to be careful. He doesn't have a flash, so now it's going to be Cyrac in a whole lot of danger. He's taken down, and even though it's 2-1 in the Grubs, it is 2-0 in the kills favoring the Chuds.
Yeah, we can see this Wukong pick. There's a reason why this champion is so strong in these skirmishes and these 2v2s, 3v3s. That Cyclone is just so valuable. Almost interrupted the Ornn Horn, but even then they still won it out. And there was just no way for Hide on Bush to participate in that fight, especially with no isolation damage. He was just going to be so useless compared to Kwasi's Wukong. They do lose the Grubs, but they will get 2 consolidation kills. Or consolation.
Yeah, that will help Mbessa here not get beaten down by the Ornn. Bowmeister using the ult and the Ignite in that scrap means it may be A2 YOLO's time to dictate a bit in this lane with the slight experience lead. Doesn't have to be quite as scared of the Ornn. But we do have the early item spike for Hide on Bush's Kha'Zix. And we'll see if he's able to prowl around and use the fact that his bot lane has been in a winning position, that he's enabled his mid lane to be in a winning position to go and make plays on the Void Insect.
A2 Yellow starting to drop the hurt in the top lane now. He's not even at the full Eclipse yet, but the matchup is starting to turn. Bowmeister bought himself a lot of time with those kills, but Father Time always wins.
Oh, but now the turret's getting tanked up by YOLO. A flash Brittle proc. Not enough, but trying to continue the play. Here comes Public Execution as A2 YOLO going to use that to just taxi out. Not much of an execution until the Forge God calls down the Ram. And Bowmeister with a third solo kill.
Great find on A2 Yellow under the turret, disrespecting a little bit, and he has to take a shot for it. So I might have cursed A2 Yellow a little bit up in that top lane. A dragon being started now for Slow Kill Predator Slayers, and no contest once again.
Kha'Zix able to shred that dragon like butter. No real advantage that you look at and say, hey, if we're the Chuds, we want to take this fight. They didn't have the Gunblade on the Akali at the time. They don't have Flash on their AD carry or their Nico to set up for big Pop Blossom, so they elect to give it up. But yeah, as we get into this mid game, we have that Gunblade on the Akali. We have that Triforce for Kwasi on the Wukong. I'd like to see these guys getting more involved, making some plays with these diving champions, and trying to open up the game for the big back Chuds.
Yeah, A2 Yellow also has Eclipse, so this top side is very, very explosive. If I'm Big Back Chuds, if I'm Quasty, if I'm A2 Yellow, I really just want to be playing hard for kills or for control in SPS's red side jungle. With these item breakpoints, they are very strong, very explosive, so they can really just pop someone. The first person they see, they should be looking on. 2-level difference in the top lane right now, almost.
And Bowmeister's going to try to harass A2 YOLO away to try to hold this wave. Good dashes from YOLO to try to get back, as mid jungles are also finding out, but it's Rex is low on the bot side, and he's just taken out quickly in the 2v2. YOLO continuing to scrap, dodging away from the Brittle proc. Maybe we're going to jostle in the jungle. Lissandra drops the ulti, and Zero Domain just evaporates under the instant burst. Nothing Kwasi can do about it, and the Wukong just has to leave. Meanwhile, back in top side, A2 YOLO is at least going to get the wave in with all the trading. And not even quite that, but still Mbessa with a bit of a lead. But, I mean, the Lissandra, we're seeing it pay a bunch of dividends. 3 ults leading to 3 quick kills.
Yeah, great pick by T-Cyrac. Top might get a little close here. Perfect execution. Almost landed. But yeah, we're seeing the value of this Lissandra pick. Oh, Carl Forge God.
That was maybe not the combo Bowmeister was looking for. Genesis is getting very aggressive, but Kha'Zix is around the bend. The Pop Blossom keeps him at bay and forces Camper to flash. So thought maybe Genesis was setting himself up to be bug food, but he's fine. He's got the ultimate, and Rexes will be able to shove the wave in.
As Zero Domain's ego Akali pick getting punished a little bit here. You hate to see it, but 0-3 Akali is not a super scary one.
Hey, I mean, she finds that 1 kill onto Soy Blake. That might be all she can do, and it would maybe be a job well done, depending on how the rest of the team can go from there. I mean, Rex's does have quite a lot of space to kite. There's not a ton of range on the side of the Slayers, aside from maybe that initial go with the Ornn Horn. And, you know, maybe Assassin Ornn does make a debut with how far ahead he's gotten, but that's probably going to be the game plan for the Slayers to try to work themselves back out of this gold lead. They have Genesis and Rexus switching up to the top side after losing the bot side tower.
Oh, the back canceled.
We will see the
Yeah, like,
Herald
that
started
back
up then.
cancel is huge. Yeah, they should be able to get this Herald because Corki is not able to swap anymore. And 4 people topside with the teleport up. This is a pretty big objective for them to be able to just steal right under their noses.
Yeah, and no Ornhorn from Bowmeister means they're not able to really flank and start off the fight. Maybe if there's a bit of a frozen tomb to be found, but no such case, they'll just move and take the Consolation Crab.
Yeah, with the 4K lead, 15 minutes in, any fight that SPS picks is so favoring towards them, right? So being able to take that Herald, Rex is called his rotate early. Yes, the bot lane turret was gone already, so he just said, screw it, I'm just gonna come early and let's just force whatever happens topside. And with the cancel onto Soyblake's reset, they were able to just completely force it without any contest. I mean, a lot of respect given over. Maybe SPS could have tried to play it, but regardless, a good call and proactive play, proactive macro from Big Bag Chuds gets them the objective and buys them a little bit more time.
Yeah, definitely nice for them. Tend to just see that Herald kind of always dropped mid, but in the meantime, we do have third dragon on the map. We'll see if the Slayers can move to Soul Point. They've got 2 items on Hide on Bush's Kha'Zix, so if anyone unnecessarily face checks in, they will be immediately cut apart. But Zero Domain just jostling in the bot lane. Here comes the Frozen Tomb, as maybe this time Cyrax's going to do it by himself. Nope, just get Hide on Bush and give him the kill. Give him the money, as that's a killing spree for the Kha'Zix. Meanwhile, mid priority going to be obtained for the side of the Big Back Chuds, and they're going to use it with the Herald.
Yeah, T-Cyrax not moving just yet, so they won't be able to possibly secure this mid turret. That would be pretty huge too. They do have to give Soul Point over, so their time is ticking. Oh my god, 9 HP on that Herald. And if he can drive that, there's no way he can make it top. But overall, a kill for mid turret. Oh, and Dragon.
Oh, and Quest even rides it up to the top lane for the surprise gank. Bowmeister missing the Ornhorn, but I mean, all that armor stacking is going to be very good for him up until he meets who knows. So he is pretty comfortable even in the 1v2. Now he's got Hide on Bush up here, and A2 YOLO doesn't have the luxury of such armor. The Ghost 4, nice public execution to try to get out of here, but all that does is give over extra assist money to Camper and another kill to Hide on Bush.
Yeah, and Bessa might have a built-in armor penetration, but Wukong does not. So Quasi is kind of just tickling Bowmeister every time he hits him. It was a good cancel on the Ornhorn, but there was no chance to kill him even with that cancel. So much pressure absorbed by Bowmeister in the top lane.
Oh, nice dodge out from Zero Domain on the W. Now going to try to look for lethal. Ult's just going to have to be traded there as forces the Domain out from Cyrax.
Good composure from Cyrax to hold his ult until he's under turret. Trading ults with Akali is always worth for Lissandra with the Malignant, so he'll always have it up way faster. And Akali not having ult means she's much, much less of a side lane threat. Zero Domain even picked up the QSS just now. So this Akali's really not threatening too much.
Yeah, I mean, QSS will definitely help. Maybe not as much as some space heaters up against the Lissandra, but definitely will stunt her ability to get into that backline and assassinate anyone through some Karma shields, some redemption heals that will come out from Camper on duty. It is a 5k gold lead just about for the side of SPS with Dragon Soul on the table in 3 minutes and maybe a kill on the table for Hide on Bush, but the Shroud enough for Zero Domain to get away. They're just pushing forward on these side lanes, making sure they're moving in, getting their vision.
Yeah, Hide on Bush just given a little love tap and just takes 60% of Zero Domain's HP, and now Rex's... Oh no, that's Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis, I don't think it'll matter who it is, because Hide on Bush will eviscerate them all the same. They're back up to try to kill the Ornn. He's got Searing Charge onto 2, Forge God as well. He gets a lot of damage onto Quasi, and with the Brittle Box, the Wukong's looking worse for wear. There's the Ambessa all dropped, and that should be Baumeister dropping in top. He made them work for it, but he gives over 500 gold all the same. Now Zero Domain just goes in looking for someone in the bushes, but he meets the Kazakhs, which is not what he wanted. So either way, it is across the map. Good stuff for the Predator Slayers.
Yeah, that's a assassin, tank, mage, 80 carry, bruiser, or an almost 1v2ing, almost one-shotting Koisti immediately. And if your only play is to go for this Orn and you almost get 1v2'd, it's not a great sign. So 6k up for for Soy Kiddo Predator Slayers right now. And Baron might be on the cards.
They do also have that soul up in 80 seconds. Is there anything important you're looking for on the side of the Chuds to give them some kind of edge or confidence in a certain soul fight?
If I'm Big Back Chuds, the only play you really have is to just screw these side waves, screw these mid wave even. You have to get a good position for every single champion in this fight. If you are able to reach Soy Blake or hide on bush before you take substantial damage, it's your only real win condition because you're not going to win in front to back, so you can't engage face forward with this Nico. And you're not really going to win if they engage either with the Lissandra, which means you have to find the pick. So Zero Domain dropping that wave is doing exactly that, but it's going to get spotted.
Yeah, he's just going to get flashed on there and just locked down. The QSS does next to nothing because damage cannot be cleansed, and Hide on Bush sure does a lot at this point. And now with the 5-on-4, the soul feels like a certainty for the side of SPS. There's the route onto camper. They're going to try to go for a play here, perhaps, but Kazakhs has looped in around. He was hiding, and now he's ready to strike. Meanwhile, camper low on the outside. Karma's going to get taken down. A2Yol enters in with a double, make it a triple kill, and the Orn is in solitude in the top lane while his team gives over 3 kills.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of play that Big Back Chuds needed. They gambled on Soy Kiddo Predator Slayers being ready, and Baumeister wasn't ready to teleport. There's no ward there for him to teleport to, so the play was over before he even had a chance to impact it. He's coming over now to maybe flank Rexes.
Yeah, he may be able to solo kill the Yunara. If we're being real, no ultimate available means no dash, so she's going to flash, but Baumeister hot on her trails. Cleanse against the Ignite just means Soy Blake's going to pick up the kill with the rocket. It is still, you can see the vision, we can see the opportunity for the side of BBC, and they do at least deny the soul at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, they got what they came for. They did get the soul. They did lose Rexes, and maybe Baron is on the cards again as they open up topside.
The 3-item spike is there for the Corki stacked up Manamune as well. And against an Akali that hasn't even reached 2 items, you feel like there isn't going to be much threat onto Soy Blake. It's maybe only in fights like those where his team maybe dives a bit too far in with no ult available on Lissandra that, the win can go the way of BBC. But if they just maybe set up camp around the Baron, force them to come into them, then Soy Blake should be fine to just deal the most damage in the game. And so they'll deal with the River Vision to try to do perhaps just that.
Yeah, I will say that the plays topside has... Oh, that's the clone. Okay. I will say that A2Yellow is kind of back in the game and actually at a pretty strong point. He's 3 items. Level 16 just dinged. So this Ambessa is very scary. And this Wukong is not like super weak. Yes, he's weaker than Hide on Bush. But in the 5v5, Wukong has incredible value compared to Kha'Zix. So it is very comparable.
Yeah, A2Yolo farmed a lot of shutdowns, but now he might be the one getting shut down in the Frozen Tomb. The CC chain is well done, but the damage needs a few more autos before Hide on Bush can claim it. With another kill in the side lane for SPS. Baumeister now maybe trying to do the same. He is 3 levels up. So even though he has no MR, he has no issues dealing with Zero Domain, who's now put on the leash. Now we're going to try to re-engage, but Soy Blake is around 0, trying to find anything. He can't even assassinate the Karma with the Ignite. And so Zero Domain losing everything just to get away.
Man, I gotta stop caster cursing these guys. As soon as I talk about A2 Yolo being strong, he goes down to the side. And with zero domain in the base, there should be almost no contest. They do know camp on duty is low. They do know Bowmeister's a little bit low. Genesis has flash,
Yeah, they're
but I
gonna
don't
look
think
for it. Into the pit they go. Quasi gonna look for the steal edge. It gets it! That's gonna be a big pickup, but a two-man knockup means they're all gonna fall to Lissandra. Zero's gonna look for something on it, but he's gotta make his way out. It is a barren steal. Everything that could have gone wrong did. And maybe that's an angle for the side of BBC, but for now, it's SPS sieging down mid.
they got the Baron, but at what cost? Koisti got it, huge steal, but the follow-up fight, they didn't have the damage and they didn't have the numbers. So they got the Baron, but they did all lose their lives. 2 Barons up remaining for Big Back Chuds. Probably will just use it defensively, but it does buy them a lot of time again. No Baron for another 5 minutes. With Soul in a minute and a half, they will be able to push out some waves, take those empowered recalls, and get themselves in a good position for this next fight.
Now we'll see how much gold they're able to pick off before that all-important soul fight. Maybe they can get zero domain up to 2 items. And A2 YOLO, I mean, he's just gonna kind of handshake up against the Orn and say, hey, just let me get my wave. Just let me get my wave. We can work this out. But yeah, that does give them a bit of breathing room here. Does give them a spike of gold. So Rex's is going to be on 3 items. But, I mean, it is just zero domain and A2 YOLO with the Baron buff. So there isn't much they can do against the kind of main squad of SPS camped up in the mid lane with Soy Blake, Camper, and Hyde on Bush. And this time, Bowmeister is going to make his way down early. And so does Hyde on Bush. Once again, Frozen Tomb into the Kazakh's claws means someone is dying. And with no jungler for the soul, this time I feel like they should get it unless they go too far forward again. 2-man Pop Blossom onto the Kazakhs, but they don't have the damage just yet. Bowmeister's own horn hits onto 2. Kazakhs trying to stay safe, trying to hop out, but Rex's is the one that finds the shutdown. A2 YOLO dies on the backside as it's 1-for-1 in the extended play, but still a health advantage on the carries for SPS.
It looks like they're just going to go for the siege here. They know the dragon is guaranteed, so they'll pick up the extra gold. But I think that Big Back Chuds had a great angle. They saw Hadan Bush just face checking the bush, and Genesis was ready to pop blossom it, but they layered the CC completely on top of each other. A2 YOLO used that perfect execution at the same time, so Kha'Zix was able to jump out right after that pop blossom. And I feel like if they just segmented the CC a little bit, then they could have just one-tapped Hadan Bush and it could have been much better. But that is all she wrote. Cloud Soul now for Soul Kill Predator Slayers.
Yeah, Rex is actually taking so much damage from the Corki. He thought he could man up against the little Corkscrew, but Soyblake puts him in his place. Zero Domain missing the Shuriken flip, wants to continue the play, has the Ignite down, but Camper is around the bend, and so is Cyrax. Zero Domain wanted to try to make a play happen. He finds nothing but the cold embrace of Cyrax. Soyblake now looking for more, as it is 2 dead on the side of BBC.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough game for Zero Domain. 0-7. He didn't have the perfect execution up when he was looking for that Shuriken backflip onto Hide on Bush, so the Kazakhs just saw a Shuriken pop out the bush and he's like, what's going on? And free kill donated over.
Yeah, this is a rage game for Zero Domain. He just got his second item at 30 minutes into the game. He's been Lissandra ulted into having an insect tear apart his internal organs. It's not been a fun game. He wants to move on to game 2. Wasn't able to scrap up a kill there. And now with a nearly 10k gold lead and the Ornn items adding on top of that, feels like it's just up to the side of SPS to put the finishing touches on this one.
Yeah, he's got the Australian outback experience this game, and he's just sending it one more time with Hide on Punch running right around the corner. It's kind of funny to watch. That's actually like a cartoon moment right there.
Yeah, and now Quasi is going to be caught out by the frozen domain that has, excuse me, Genesis. I hate Nico. Either way, it is Cyrac on a rampage. Rex is going to try to jump forward and get some damage down. Arc of Ruin missing as Quasi has Cyclone into the backline, but they can't find the damage.
Oh.
And it's going to be Camper staying alive. It's going to be Hide on Bush staying alive. And just Rex is an A2 YOLO to defend.
Yeah, it's so hard for Big Bag Chuds to find any room to play with now. They lost full control of their jungle. They missed the public execution, and now Zero Domain might be up with the perfect execution to see if they can get anything back.
Yeah, there's been a
Well,
lot of
unlikely.
executions thrown out between Akali and Mbessa. They have not been very successful, particularly on one of them.
Yeah.
But either way, it is going to now be 5-on-4 in their base. Quasi's still dead for another 10 seconds, but they are losing inhibitors fast. Triple inhib secured, and now maybe the death push for SPS.
Bowmeister building the final item for someone. Waves are crashing in now. All three inhibs means that there will be double supers every single wave, and there should be no way out of this base for Big Back Chuds.
Yeah, I don't think Quasi's going to make their way up for a Baron steal this time when all those super mains are crashing in. They're going to try, as going to walk through a whole bunch of vision. And as long as Cyrac knows where the Wukong's coming from, he's got no chance. Camper even walking out to scout out the Monkey King as well. So Baron secured, and it is nearing the end here in game number 1.
Yeah, should just be the victory lap now. Double super waves crashing, and now with Baron. Only a Yunara to wave clear, maybe a little bit of Ambessa, but it's going to be rough from here.
Rex's is able to get to 4 items, but he's got to deal with that. Oh, my lord. As Genesis on the back line, that's not the Pop Blossom you need to see. Your 80 carry is nowhere around. Zero trying to flip into the fight. Quasi trying to do something, but no one is falling anytime soon on the side of SPS. Flash knockup for Bowmeister. He's going to try to start this how he ended it. Or end this how he started it, rather. With the kill on the Mbessa. Zero Domain, the only one left standing, but will not be standing for long. That is a kill and 31 kills for the side of SPS as they close out game number 1.
Yeah, pretty rough game from Big Bag Chuds, but SPS able to play out their comp exactly the way they planned it. Kha'Zix being able to sit around mid and just playing around Lissandra's Frozen Tomb every single time it's up. The Corki Karma pushing their advantage in the side lane with that counter pick. And even the Orin winning early was not expected, but 3 winning lanes kind of sealed the deal at minute 5, I guess. We'll have to see the adaptations that BBC will make.
Yeah, we will see how soon we are able to get into that second game.
I think of Zero Domain here. I want to flip my priority entirely. Instead of trying to take something that's very high risk, high reward, and very reliant on playmaking with something like Akali. We know that Cyrac's pool is now very limited to these uh, no flame intended, but these very simple mages, stuff like Malzahar or Lissandra or Ari. So I would rather Zero Domain take something that is scaling and has a lot of team fight potential. Maybe like Azir, maybe like Syndra, Oriana got banned last game, so they could look at that phase 1. But I feel like he will have a lot stronger impact if he tries to make mid a little less volatile and just scale and play for where he knows he will be strong.
All right, and with that, we should be good here for our game number 2 draft. Either way, a lot of similar faces on the ban list across for game number 1. Rexes will not get his hands on his Draven. Item Bush will not get his hands on either the Graves or the Jarvan. As SPS look towards instead that high priority bottom laner in the Varus for Soyblake. We'll see what the Chuds want to do on the other side. With Corki off the table, we have seen Rex's take the Lucian as that strong laning duo with something like the Nami or the Milio, which is definitely on the table here early in the draft.
Ooh, it will be Ezreal instead. I'm quite a Ezreal enjoyer myself, and I will say this is pretty skill based. It's favored if you're good at Ezreal, um, and it's also favored if it's lethality Varus. So if Blake chooses to go on hit, might be a little bit different. But Bard being followed up, Ezreal Bard, classic combo. Lets Bard go wherever he wants to, collect whatever chimes he wants to. Ezreal just sits 2 screens away, farming with Cube.
Yeah, definitely going to look to have a better performance in the bot lane for the side of Rex's and Genesis as early advantages in game 1 but couldn't sustain it. We will see Camper lock in that Thresh down with the Varus, another kind of typical combo with the Varus, as we'll see where they want to blind pick. Probably for Hide on Bush. He is down to maybe something like a Dr. Mundo, maybe a Shin Zhao here in the jungle for his blind pick, or if he wants to leave it till later for something spicy, as he has played some off the wall picks as well. But no, it is just going to be the Mundo. That does seem a bit out there for me. Feels like Mundo is never going to really be able to slap the Ezreal, and that the Ezreal can do enough damage on like the
Ooh.
3 items to deal with him. But we'll also have the Gwen coming down. Could go for either Quasi or for a Tuyolo.
Yeah, I do like the Gwen. Gwen, however, was nerfed pretty hard, substantially this patch. I've heard it has been pretty rough for Gwen jungle players in particular, but Gwen is a pretty great answer into Mundo. And when the rest of your comp is able to fend for themselves, like you said before, Ezreal Bard going to be pretty hard for Mundo to hit consistently. Gwen is just going to be able to eat him up while he's trying to reach for the scraps in the back.
And as we look towards phase number 2 of bans, it is Zero Domains, Kassadin, still banned away. Did kind of make sense in the last game. They kind of pushed him onto this Akali, but if they were leaving up counter pick, I'm not sure why you would care about the Kassadin. But in this case, they're likely to have to blind a mid here for Cyrac. And if he goes something like lower damage, like an Ari, then you definitely see the Kassadin having value there. So they take it away. And they'll take away one of the primo junglers as well. The missed ban was Shin Zhao from the side of Big Back Chuds. So Slayers will ban the Silas.
That's pretty interesting. They're leaving Ori open, and they're not believing that Zero Domain will play it with the counter pick. So we'll have to see what Tusaric blinds here. He is a Malzahar player, he's an Ari player. Both of those champs are pretty good, however, not super favorable into Oriana. So this does confirm now that Gwen will be going into the jungle. Bowmeister will be pollating or A2 Yellow will be piloting the Scion in the top lane.
Yeah, Chud's
But
seeming
let's see
very
Cyrus.
comfortable with just blind picking the tank the same way SPS was comfortable blind picking in game number 1, the Ornn, but Lilia comes in for Hide on Bush, which means the Mundo is actually going to try to get his degree up in top side this game.
I like that. I like that flex. Window not commonly seen top, but actually is pretty good into Scion, and in general is good as long as you let him scale. And this, if Cyrac locks
What
that in,
are
that
we?
is a Cyrac classic. This guy, his Echo days are over. He only plays top laners in the mid lane now, and Garen, I've heard, is one of his favorites. So a ton of beef balls and a Varus to round out SPS's comp.
I guess the Silas ban makes a bit more sense up against Zero Domain. It is going to be a very melee top side of the map, and maybe we see something like the Yone come out. Instead, it's going to be Jace
Ooh.
to complement the Gwen in the jungle. I mean, technically we could see a Gwen mid if you and the Jace in the jungle, but I'm not sure how exactly they want to sort that out.
Shiv, there's 6 top laners in this game. I think top lane champs might be a little strong.
Are we? Oh yeah, we're counting Varus as a top laner.
Yeah,
Fair,
we're
fair,
counting Varus as
fair,
one.
fair.
Technically, yeah, we're counting one, but yeah, we have a top lane matchup in the mid lane. Mundo on top, which is pretty rare these days, and Gwen Lilia is the jungle matchup. So solo AP for both junglers. It'll be pretty interesting to see. I do like Lilia as opposed to Gwen because Gwen needs to be able to stick their targets, right? And now it's the opposite. Instead of Mundo not being able to stick his targets, this Gwen will find it really hard to stick to Lilia. I mean, he can hit Mundo, I guess, but it'll be hard to stick to Varus. And I believe if Cyrac runs Phase Rush, it'll be hard to stick to him too. So we'll have to see. It's pretty rough for Gwen.
Yeah, I do feel like both junglers can maybe struggle in this game, though, because you look at the Lillian, like she can definitely do donuts in the parking lot when it comes to dealing with the Scion. But if she ever and building up those move speeds, building up the stacks, but if she ever wants to hit the Ezreal and Jace that are poking her down, that's gonna be a lot more commitment from Hide on Bush to try to affect the backline because the engage really isn't there from the Slayers. You're up to kind of like a thresh hook where if big back chuds are able to get to that objective and force you to come in through all the poke, it can be pretty tough sledding for Lilia, for Mundo, for Garen to force their way through.
Yeah, I really agree. Both for SPS, Thresh being your only real CC besides Varus ult, um, is pretty unreliable. Thresh is a pretty high risk, high reward champion, in my opinion. So they're gonna have to be able to find advantages through their bot side again, if they're able to scale. But the good side is that Mundo is an engage kind of because he can just walk up and take space with his HP, right? As long as he's willing to trade out his HP, they will be able to get space back, which is pretty good. This is why Mundo Jungle is pretty good right now. And yeah, the donuts in the parking lot.
Hey, when you build up that kind of speed, you're looping around the tanks. That's what Lilia can do. I feel like Lilia would have been great for the Chuds if it was their pick up against two melee soul laners and a melee jungler. Reaching Ezreal, reaching Jace, that's a bit of a tougher one for the deer. But I mean, we're also kind of maybe glossing over the Cyrac pocket pick of the Garen. He can execute someone if he gets on them. Um, I'm not sure how realistic that is either, though.
Yeah, I have no analysis to add for Garen mid. I'm just gonna sit back, eat my popcorn, and watch this guy do donuts on his own minions or on enemy minions. Um, I have no idea how this works.
We can
The-
confirm that it is Bowmeister on Mundo. It is Cyrax Garen. It is Hide on Bush on Lillian. Nothing that we didn't expect, at least on that side for the top lane, for the top side.
Are they in order for Big Back Chuds? We can't see the usernames right now, but
Oh yeah, that's fair because I mean again, like
I pray to God that
technically this Gwen could go mid. We could have a Jace jungle. We could technically have a Sion jungle. I don't know if you
triple
want to
play.
do that into Lilia, but it is perhaps an option if you like your solo lanes with Jace and Gwen. It could be
I
Barb top.
I really do expect it to be zero domain Jace.
Yeah, I mean Zero Domain definitely had a very rough game one. I don't think he would want to play Sion after that, at the very least. And Jace is a pick that he's definitely found success on, not this split, but in past DMVs. As that champ has been strong, you enable your jungler to play kind of AP farmers like the Gwen. And we'll see if Zero Domain can bounce back after being stuck in the freezer for pretty much all of game number one. Yeah, that'll be a short break from us. Not as long as the last one, like actually short this time, before we get into game number two. And we are in for game number two between Big Back Chuds and the Soy Kettle Predator Slayers. Both these teams looking to stay towards the top of the standings for playoff seeding, and they are definitely bringing out some interesting picks across the board to try to make that happen.
Yeah, I just hope this one is a banger, Shiv. We got zero domain Jace. And T Cyrek is not choosing to go with the phase rush. So mid might be quite volatile. And also Soy Blake is opting for on hit Varus. We don't know whether it's AP or AD yet, but a relatively unpopular choice at the moment, as on hit builds are not super strong, but we will see.
Yeah. Does mean they're definitely trusting Bowmeister to be able to get them space and work through the poke that's going to come through from Rex's and Zero Domain for this Varus to be able to auto attack people down and be able to hit them with his on hit capabilities rather than just poking with lethality.
Yeah, with this being on hit Varus, I expect bot to actually be way more volatile. Um, Genesis has gone with the aggressive laning bard, Ignite plus Electrocute, as opposed to something more utility based with like Heal Spellbook. So definitely a lot more pressure from this bard. Cameron Duty also has Glacial Augment. Um, I'm not, I don't use that rune often, so I can't really speak too much on it. But Cyrax staying healthy through these trades in the mid lane. Actually, pretty like Garen's natural sustain is always so surprising to me.
Yeah, he's also going to be able to trade out mana from Zero Domain because Garen doesn't need any of that magic. So can try to drain away Zero Domain through either resource of health or mana as they jostle through the trades. Both junglers going to end on bot side with their full clears, with Rex's and Genesis having early serve over the bot lane. It should be Hide on Bush pathing back up to the top crab. As the hook connected, but not the flay. Genesis now taking a good bit of damage.
Yeah, Quasi is gonna have control over this Scuttle Crab immediately, and Hot on bush. We'll just be seeding it and going straight to the top crab. Maybe something might happen mid. Zero Domain should respect it, as he knows that his jungler has just taken the bot crab. Same thing with A2 yellow up here.
Oh, but
So nothing
scrapping
should
in
be
bot
happening
lanes.
there.
Ignite is dropped onto Camper. He's going to be able to get out of that one with his sums. Genesis doing the same as Bowling Ball does connect. Nice find by Hide on Bush. Doesn't find the Q, flash away from the Eep, and A2 YOLO is maybe going to fall finally to the Lilia Q, but she had to tank the extra tower shot to do it, so it's 1-for-1 top side. Cyrac takes a shot blast, and a flash from Zero Domain is not enough damage. So nothing in the mid lane. And now Quasi
Just when I
has
said
worked their way up to the top side, and Bowmeister will get some health from the cleaver. He's sticking in there. He's going to find another one, as Quasi is going to eventually find the last snips to do in the doctor.
yeah, name of the game for both these games so far has been action in the top lane. We just let bot lane duke it out and go help the tanks, is what both these junglers are saying. Just when I said there was going to be no action in the solo lanes, a lot has happened in the past minute. But Hard on Bush going down is pretty huge. This Lilia is not able to keep the tempo of her full clear. She is still on track.
Yeah, now we got trading in mid. Ignite's getting
my God,
dropped.
no way.
The spin and the win for Cyrex Garen.
Never doubt him again, Shiv. Never doubt Cyrac again. He got counterpicked and he still pulls out the solo kill with Conquer, Ignite, Garen mid. Unbelievable stuff.
So the lane's definitely going better here for the big back chuds. They're not down 4-0 at 5 minutes. But meanwhile, A2 YOLO has the level 6 on top side. He's going to be able to trade out against Bowmeister. Doesn't pull the trigger on the side. Ultimate Bow Jungler still away on bot side, so top laners left to their own devices for now. Yes, Manning Smash finding more damage, and now here comes the train. A2 YOLO gets the damage through with the Grasp proc. And this time, A2 YOLO is the one picking up solo kills top side.
Yeah, great show. And Mundo has a good matchup, but this champ is still Mundo. Mundo is nothing early game without that level 3 ult, without those stacks in his Heartsteel. Great play by A2 YOLO.
Now, the trade on the other side should be this dragon going the way of the Soy Kiddo Predator Slayers. As now Sleepy Time onto the Jace. Has no flash, but there isn't going to be much follow-up. Hide on Bush now in trouble as the needlework doesn't kill him off just yet. Cyrac is able to find a kill with some justice, but it's traded out by the Gwen using the flash to finish off the Lilia.
Now 1-for-1 cross mid. The Lilting Lullaby did catch Zero Domain, but Feisty able to start getting these kills. Ooh, cleanse popped. Getting this Gwen accelerated is so huge for the big back chuds.
And now Quasi doesn't get the smite, but is able to still secure the crab, but needs to maybe walk their way out of this one. It's going to be 2v2 on top side. Ultimates are still down across the board, except for Bowmeister, who's ready to crank up the dosage, but Cyrac's getting very low. Another smash isn't quite enough. Quasi is maybe dying to the Mundo off on the side, but it's A2 YOLO that finds the killing spree on the Scion. But now Hide on Bush is here, not able to find the bowling ball. Needs to find a few more stacks of Dream Dust to finish this one off. The Soul Furnace shield is helping, but it's not going to help A2 YOLO get out of this one. Meanwhile, Quasi, with the last of the HP, able to take out Bowmeister. Some isolated 1v1s, but I think, once again, the Gwen is the one that's pretty happy with picking up these kills.
Yeah, I thought all the action was going to be in the Thresh Bard lane, but these meatballs just want to keep slapping each other, I guess. So a lot of combat constantly happening in the top lane. Mundo going 0-3 is not great for him, and these Scion and Gwen picking up kills, I think is super good. 2k gold lead, and Quasi is pretty off to the races. Almost done with that. Dusk and Dawn already is huge.
Grubs are up on the top side of the map. We'll see if either jungler wants to detour down for that, given that they're both clearing top to bot. Doesn't look like either. Void Grubs have not been particularly good this season. Teams generally do elect to try to just only take them when it's an opportune time. Is it an opportune time for mid? Not quite. Zero Domain able to dodge out on a lot of the damage and keep himself safe.
Yeah, that will be Grubs going over to hide on bush and the side of Soul Killer Predator Slayers. Both teams do have pretty good side laners, so I feel like Grubs are pretty valuable this game. Both Garen, Mundo, as well as Jace and Sion are going to be able to make quite good or decent use of it. So all three Grubs going to SPS is pretty huge, especially when you're in this losing map state.
Yeah, Gwen is going to try to counter jungle on the other side and at least pick up the red buff, given that her bot lane has so much priority, given the Bard can easily portal over. Now she's going to try to work on the Krugs, but that might be a bridge too far. Zero Domain is here. Nice stun off the minions from Genesis. And the smite goes away of Cassie. Now it's going to be Zero Domain trying to get in there, but he's asleep. He's going to get hooked up. Nice Tempered Fate to try to buy some time. But how much is it really going to buy? Quassie's able to get in there to make it a 1-for-1. But here comes Hide on Bush with the damage. Cyrac even gets in there with the Garen ulti as well. Everyone was ready to fight over Krugs in the bot lane. But it is going to be the SPS winning out massively. A2 YOLO trying to get away. Is it a 10-minute ace? No, it is not. As the train rolls back defensively.
Yeah, the play looked great at the start. Questi and Zero Domain were able to just set up shop in Soul Killer Predator Slayer's blue side so early, but Zero Domain just jumped the gun and flashed straight into all the CC, and he just went down without using a single spell. So what looked like a great play ends in tragedy as 4, I think. 3 go down. Oh, no, 4 did go down. But yeah, these plays slowly starting to get away from them. Good hook.
A nice death sentence from Camper on duty, but the disengage cone is there. They're going to lantern through the portal or not. Item Bush says, you know what? I'm ready to farm some more. There's been too much PvE. AP jungler needs chill. Just pick up some camps. As she'll steal away the enemy blue buff. But Quassi is going to do the same on the other side as well.
Yeah, this is actually great pathing from Questi. Now we see the pings come out onto Questi's red side. So Hide on Bush knows that his camps are being taken right now, and he just has to keep contesting the map. Yeah, he is up a level on Hide on Bush, but he does a lot of damage.
It does have the level lead, hits some spells, but needs to respect the first item completion for the Gwen. Doesn't quite want to duke it out. Genesis is just going to wait to cancel this. But yeah, Lilia should be able to complete her first item off of this base to better contest those camps. We got Tempered Fate down onto the Thresh. Camper was forced to flash down on that bot side.
Yeah, also, Cyrac hasn't backed since that play. He's backing right now, but he's sitting on 2k gold. So he's going to be ready for this drag fight when it does happen, as Infernal Drag is live now and a full Stride Breaker done and Proto Belt being completed for Hide on Bush. I guess that's the first item.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Proto Belt gain a lot of popularity on Ahri, on Aurora, as solid items with Malignance not being so good. Not sure about it on Lilia, who does benefit a lot more from the burn items, but either way, it is a lot of first time completions finished for the side of SPS compared to the side of Chuds, or excuse me, Ezreal did finish his Triforce as Hide on Bush is going to go for the Lullaby onto just the Bard. He goes to sleep, but Zero Domain is able to block for now. The arrows from the Varus are now starting to come on down. It's going to be Soy Blake and Camper finding the first kill, and limping out alive is the Thresh. Quassie's not going to find anything on the Gwen. Rex's joins up late on the Ezreal, and now maybe he's going to get chased on down. Evades the bowling ball, but Hide on Bush keeps up the pressure. Cyrac keeps up the spins. And it is a 4-for-0 fight in favor of SPS.
I thought that Lilting Lullaby on just Genesis was pretty grief, but it turned out that they just needed to start the fight because they knew that Soy Blake had the early rotate So no matter where the fight started, they would winning. Or they felt like they would win, and exactly what happened. They got the pick, and then Zero Domain once again got rooted up by the chain of corruption and just taken down exactly where he stood. Something about Zero Domain and CC is not too great today.
Yeah, this is not the comeback Zero Domain was looking for here in game number 2. They weren't quite able to do the game plan that they maybe envisioned of the Jace sitting back, reeling out the poke, because like you said, Ezreal was not going to be there to be able to do the same. A2 YOLO now with a 2-level lead on this Scion. At least
My
they have a
God.
role reversal up here, but Heidelbush is going to be in the range with the Lilia. Now going to start slowing up the Scion, racing up alongside him. Nice death sense from Camper to make sure that he's involved as well. They'll get him eventually. They'll get him eventually. We'll hit some Eeps. We'll hit some Dream Dust. And Heidelbush is now 6 kills up and 14 Magi stacks up on the Lilia.
Yeah, it looks like the game has completely turned now. What was a 2K gold lead is now almost 1K back. And Quaesty, once having a lead, is now down camps, down XP, and Heidelbush is off to the races. 14 stacks in the Magi's. Sitting on 700 gold right now, but will be en route to the second item. And this Lily is going to be so hard to deal with.
Yeah, they have the poke to try to keep her at arm's length, but not going to really be poke that sticks too much until maybe Ezreal gets that upgraded Manamune, until Jace maybe gets the same himself. So we'll see if those 2 item spikes are when the Chuds can maybe take the fights that they're looking for. For now, it is over to the side lanes where Cyrac can just kind of shrug off the consistent damage of Zero Domain, and where Bowmeister, he hasn't been having a great time, but it is just Scion. You don't worry too much about that champion having a ton of gold, given that you have an on-hit Varus and a Lilia.
Zero Domain knows he's on the weak side here and is just patiently waiting,
Oh,
but
that
he
was
does
a
get hit by the
really
slow
nice
seed.
angle on the bowling ball, and that may just set up the kill with the Garen ulti. There's been some very good angles from Heidelbush with these Lilia E's. He's back at the lanes as Soy Blake is going to get CC'd up against the wall. Doesn't have the opportunity to take the Lantern with the double ward coming down. And nothing Camper can do to try to save his carry. But now Rex's is maybe going too aggressive. Flashing over the wall. Still gets killed off. Now Quasi trying to pop off on the Gwen. Chasing in with the needlework as it's 3v2 in favor of the Chuds. But they can't find more in the fight. The Lilia is too slippery. And now maybe they chase onto A2 YOLO. The shout slow is helpful, as YOLO is not going to quite fall to the Proto Belt. Did have to burn the flash.
Yeah, if he had Leandri's, I think he would have gotten it to YOLO. Barely living. But these fights are so close. Rex aggressively flashed, so that's gone. But Soy Blake had flashed the whole time. So maybe he could have lived. Also, I just noticed this is AP Varus, so that Scion is not going to be super tanky for long. Zero Domain being spotted out on the mid wave, but 0-5 so far for this Jace. Not a great look as they sit looking for Camper on duty.
Yeah, Quasius maybe found him. Camper's flash just comes back up in time to be able to evade that, but a nice find to get some summoner out before the dragon fight. But meanwhile in mid, AP or AD, Soy Blake does good damage, but Rex is now able to push forward Genesis by his side, and that is a much more important flash on the Varus. But now Chains of Corruption come on down, and Soy Blake outplays him in a 1v2. Now Zero might be in trouble as Heidelbush just weaving in and out on this Lilia, waiting for the team to get in range. Ezreal doesn't do enough to pick anyone off, and it's Cyrac's Garen picking up a kill. It's Heidelbush killing off Zero Domain, and that's 3 dead 30 seconds before Dragon.
Yeah, these plays are starting to look really desperate. And A2 Yellow is not even in most of them. He has the Unstoppable Onslaught up, but is not able to get involved in the plays. And these desperate plays are just starting to make the gold slip more and more. 3K now for Soy Kiddo Predator Slayers.
And Genesis going to loop into mid, get the slow, and do good damage on the Bard. But I mean, there's still a Varus. and Tempered Fate was not used. So an odd death for Genesis with Dragon on the map. Does look like that one should be locked up by SPS. Either way.
He's out of there. Look at this Garen, bro. Swift marches done. And Phantom Dancer on top. 439 base move speed. This guy, and with no phase rush. Imagine if he had phase rush, like he'd just be all over Big Back Chuds right now.
That is going to be soul point for the side of SPS. It is a 4K gold lead for them as well. And that gold has found its way into some pretty important pockets. They got 1K on a Varus that's going to be able to shred away at the Scion. They've got a big lead in the jungle for the Lilia, who is going to be able to weave her way in and out while dealing with the front line. And the Garen, who's going to make his way forward to try to pop the Ezreal, DeJace, whoever he can really find. And then the lead for the Scion doesn't feel that relevant when you look at what SPS can do to him.
Yeah, I would have liked for Genesis to just go first item. Oh,
well, that's
a
train that didn't quite reach the station. Mundo's going to get some dosage here and try to walk it out with the Ghost. Does need to cover that magical journey that Genesis put down, but they've got 3 men up here. But Bowmeister is going to just be able to walk it out with the Ghost.
Oh my god, absorbing the pressure while his team is able to take everything on the other side. That's a Mundo classic right there. Mid turret going down.
Oh, nice. Death sentence out from Camper means Zero Domain scoreline is looking all too familiar for this series. And Rex's Genesis, not much they're going to be able to do as Hide Bush still lurking around the corner, getting some good harass down onto the Scion. But, you know, he'll deal with it for now.
Yeah, they have no Scion also. If they wanted to look for a play, now is the time with this Mundo being top lane. But looks like SPS are able to just walk away. The Temper Fate was up too, but they missed their timer. And now Mundo's going to whack away at some top plates.
YOLO is going to meet him up here. He'll have his teammates around soon enough. Genesis is looking on the top side as well. Can't just outright Tempered Faith because of the Mundo passive, so needs to walk it up.
Round 2. It's round 2.
And they've got everyone back for another helping of the Mundo. This time, Quassie's going to be able to snip him up. And they're going to get the vengeance for that first go-around.
Yeah, Burning Needlework is kind of bad, though. See, they're looking to play aggressively for any sort of opening they can.
Yeah, another Needlework is going to get used, but Cyrix doing so much damage and just destroys the Gwen. But meanwhile, it's Soy Blake finding a kill. Like I said, Rexus wants to go aggressive. He'll find one kill, but he meets the arrows of Soy Blake as well. Meanwhile, on top side, Genesis able to immune the Watch Out Deep. Now trying to portal out to safety. Or is he, as he gets the ring around on Hide on Bush? But Soy Blake is still here. The Varus is ready to pelt down with these arrows. And A2 YOLO isn't gonna stop the ace as SPS continue to build the lead. And now look at Baron.
Yeah, they got T-Cyrac, but what did it cost? Everything. And that is uncontested Baron going over to Soy Blake or Soy Kittle Predators Slayers. It's Demacia on the roof today, Shiv.
Yeah, I mean, Demacia Rising did teach us a lot about Conquest, and Cyrac doing just that. He made his way into a new team. He's carrying here in game number 2 as the substitute here for Loot Killers and doing a great job on his pocket pick. Up to 3 items. Soul Fight in 40 seconds. As we're going to see what kind of last gasp the side of BBC can come up with.
Stridebreaker. So lethal. Rexus is pretty much a non-factor at this point in the game now. 2 items compared to Soy Blake's Rabadon's 3rd item. on Ezreal at 23 minutes in. This guy is just throwing feathers at you at this point.
Yeah, and he's not able to do much against the Baron waves either. Soy Blake still has his flash up as well, despite running through that last fight. So the limited engage of Tempered Fate, the fact that the side of BBC can't get to the objective first to throw out their poke, and instead we're whiffing some poke. The fight does not look good when they're walking into Varus, when Lilia can weave in and out from the sides with the bowling balls. ATO going to try to get some space up here. Bowmeister working his way down as well. As Mundo just going to walk on
No
forward.
run.
That sense it's not going to connect. Bowmeister going to soak up a lot of damages. Both tanks just soaking up whatever they can. The Drowsy comes out into Jason. Cyrix going to beeline it right for that enemy mid laner, but it's Soy Blake that kills off the Ezreal. There's just not enough damage to get through anyone. And now Cyrac is spinning right through the board. It's a 5-for-nothing ace. And I think SPS are just going to walk it down mid.
Yeah, they have Baron and the wave there. They just got to protect the wave. And this should be game. 15 seconds on Rex's. Shouldn't be enough time left. Yeah, they just got fully stat checked. So, I mean, there's hats off to T Cyrac. Pulls out the Garen and solo kills Zero Domain on the counter pick. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, Kwasi and Rex are going to try their best, but their best is just nowhere near good enough. As Hide on Bush's Lilia does fall in the end, ruins some of the Magi stacks, ruins the scoreline a bit, but it is still a dominating 2-0 victory for the Soy Kiddo Predator Slayers.
Now, we said this would be a story of the substitutes, and that's exactly what it was. Camper on Duty and T Cyrac put on quite a show, alongside Hot on Bush, of course, with the signature carry picks. But T Cyrac and Hot on Bush, it seems like they've been playing together all season, Shiv. They worked together so well in that mid to jungle in game 1. And in game 2, Hot on Bush knew to just run around the map while Cyrac held it down. And Camper on Duty with this Thresh, the death sentences to close out the game. Beautiful stuff from SPS.
Excellent work from SPS as they move to 5-1 to close out the Swiss stage. That does mean they are guaranteed at least a top 2 position, I believe, if Untitled lose tomorrow, because we go by strength of schedule before head-to-head. Untitled does fall below the Predator Slayers in the standing, if my math is right. So SPS definitely going to be rooting for Hank Whittleberg tomorrow to see if they can grab that number 1 seed. Yeah, excellent stuff from them. Big Back Chuds going to have to reset and try to shake it off as they move towards playoffs and look for a deep run of their own. I think I have a thought on MVP, but I'm gonna defer to you for this series, Mr. Prone.
I think my personal unbiased opinion, it would have to go to T Cyrac for me. As much as Hot on Bush was running around killing people on the bug and then killing people on the centaur, it all started from the mid control. It all started from T Cyrac winning the counter matchup, or I don't even know if this is a counter matchup, but Garen solo killing Jace like opened up entirely the map because everything happens from the mid lane. And in game 1, they just played together so well. It seemed like they've been playing together the whole season. Like I said, every single time that Frozen Tomb was up, Hide on Bush was ready to make a play onto Zero Domain. And then from there, they just kept moving around the map together, ult after ult. Cyrac was there to set up everything, and Hide on Bush just knocked it down. So I'm gonna have to give it to T Cyrac.
Okay. I thought we were gonna disagree. It's a bit difficult to maybe give credit to. Do you give credit to the setup of Cyrac, or do you give credit to the guy that knocked it down? in Heidenbush. At the end, I do agree. Lysandra freezing people up makes it pretty easy for Heidenbush to do his job, and they can always dictate in the side lanes. But still, a great duo there from Cyrac and Heidenbush to close out a strong Swiss stage for the Soy Kiddo Predator Slayers. Coming up tomorrow, we do have Untitled and Hank Whittleberg to see how the top of the standings is going to work out, and if Untitled can make it through the Swiss stage undefeated. And then we also have the 9 to 5 Grustlers versus the Silk Road Shaitans. And the loser of that could be out of playoffs entirely. So a lot on the line tomorrow. Be sure to tune in for those sets of games tomorrow. But any closing words before we're out for the night?
Both the games are banger tomorrow. Everyone tune in. That is all.